Hey everyone, Courtney here, and this is a financial video that I'm doing on the FIRE movement and what we have instituted here recently on the path to FIRE or to financial independence. For me, it would be FIRE, retiring early. For my husband, he will retire at 65. We're 12 years apart. So I have been really listening to quite a lot of FIRE podcasts, reading. I recently ordered a FIRE workbook, and I'm going to let you know on the pillars of FIRE what we have been doing, and so maybe that will help you in real world, just watching someone who's actually doing it. So right now I am working about 24 hours a week, and I make a full-time income doing that. So I make a pretty decent income working part-time. It doesn't feel like part-time because I'm a contractor, so I'm back and forth all day. So it definitely feels like full-time, but about 3 mornings a week, I don't have to go in until lunchtime. So the rest of the time I'm pretty much working. And on Fridays, I generally get off a little bit early. So I'm not semi-retired, but I'm like 3/4 time, if you will, considering all the back and forth. So on the pillars of FI, these are not in order. And if you're not familiar with FI, one of my favorite podcasts right now is Choose FI. And so I really like that one. It's been the one that I can relate to the most. So I've been following this movement before it was called FI, back when Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez wrote the book, Your Money or Your Life. So anyways, here we go. You probably don't care about all that. So low-cost index funds. I am currently with a brokerage firm, Morgan Stanley, and that is because my grandmother was with Morgan Stanley, and my grandmother did very well. She passed away a millionaire. I don't know if they just saved everything they made, because my grandmother, besides a stint working for the FBI, was a stay-at-home mother and wife, but she grew all her food, sewed her own clothes, and did everything until pretty much the last few years of her life, mowed her own lawn. So my grandfather passed away when I was 15, and then my grandmother remarried a man who had been a head mechanic at a dealership, and they literally died millionaires. So I'm not exactly sure how they did that, but I have figured out pretty quickly it probably wasn't with Morgan Stanley funds, because I have put in probably around, I think I figured up somewhere around 95,000 in the past 7 years, and I have around 110 in there right now. That doesn't seem very good to me. And so I am moving everything to Vanguard, and I will probably move about 80 to 90% into VTSAX. I hope I said that right. The index fund that's across the board index fund. And then I will probably, because of my age, move a little bit into bonds, because I'm 48 and I'm not sure that I want to get that aggressive. The second thing I'm going to do is, it was talking about low cost housing, and low cost housing, we own a farm. And when we purchased this farm, we purchased for $120,000, and the buildings on it were not really usable. There was a bunch of storage buildings, a barn, and an old house. We wanted to save the old house, but we weren't able to. There was also a trailer that we sold. And in hindsight, honestly, right now, I would have remodeled that trailer and lived in it and been debt-free. And, I really don't care where I live right now at this point, but we didn't do that. And so we owe about $175,000 on our farm. My husband saved $48,000 for the down payment. And then every improvement we have made on the farm has increased the value. Everything we've done on the farm, we've paid cash, and then we have paid down our mortgage already from about $40,000 in a year and a half. And so we basically live on half of what we make, and that's how we have done that. Our mortgage is $1,248 a month, and we are paying that mortgage off within the next 3 years. And based on what we've been doing, we're on track to do that. So this is my husband's dream. We have a rental on the property that we're building right now, paying cash for that. We're not borrowing. So we will be debt-free with at least one rental in a couple of months. We are debt free, but we'll have one rental in our house. Buying used cars. Right now, we are buying a Honda CR-V from a friend who is moving to England. It is 10 years old. It has very low mileage. She's giving it to us for a very reasonable price. And that is a more useful car for my husband to use for his roofing business in lieu of driving his truck. We cannot get rid of the truck. It's probably not worth a lot anyway because we need it to haul things to the dump. We have to pull like heavy trailers because we own a roofing business. So it makes sense to just keep that truck and just kind of use it as we need it, as we have to, and use the SUV with a ladder and a toolbox in the back to save on gas. So that's what we're doing. It doesn't make sense to go out and buy a new truck when my husband travels and works about $900 worth of gas a month in the truck versus about $200 in an SUV. So the math works out. We also have a Camry that was his daily driver, and we have my Subaru that has been my daily driver. The Subaru is worth somewhere between $13,000 and $15,000. I'm getting so many different estimates as I look online. The Camry is worth somewhere between, it's around $7,000 to $8,000. And so what we're trying to do is sell both of those and buy me a 10-year-old used car with low miles and my son a car, and whatever the difference is left over, we're going to put towards the mortgage. So that's the plan on the cars, to get down to 2 10-year-old used cars. It makes sense to keep the Camry. However, we've been having a really hard time selling the Subaru because a lot of people around here there aren't a lot of people who can get loans for that much money, and it's a lot harder to sell. But that is my goal, and I did mark it down today to make it more, hopefully people will buy it. The second thing is crushing the grocery bill. I'm consciously trying to cook more at home. I use my crock pot all the time. I'm not great at this. I used to be amazing at this. I used to be able to cook and feed a family on like $50 a week, and that was because I had to. And I just have some mental block about budgeting every penny. But what I do is I meal plan, and I try to pantry shop and use up what we have. I buy generic when I can. We eat at home. We minimize eating out. We pack our food. And so I do try, but I'm going to tell you, we put a certain amount of money in a household budget every month to pay the fixed bills and the food, and everything else goes into savings. So we're kind of on a budget. It's just like you can't overspend that money, and it's just enough, really. So that's what we do with that. Tax optimization. This year we're going to max out 2 IRAs, and that will be $13,000. And I just keep doing the math, and as much as I know it will save on taxes. Oh, we're also going to max out the HSA, the health savings plan. But as much as I know that it will save on taxes, I am not going to fully fund or get a 401k. I may put some money in a 457 with my husband's job because he only has 4 years, but they don't have that plan available right now. They only do signups once a year, so I have to see that before we do it. But I'm trying to get our tax burden down. Last year it was $29,000, almost $30,000. That's a hard pill to swallow, let me tell you. And this year, I'm going to try to get it down by investing as much of that money as I can in tax-deferred investments. But at the same time, I'm really trying to pay the house down. So it's going to be a hybrid approach. College hacking. Really, my kids I have one going to graduate school. I have 2 that have graduated. They have a little bit of debt, and they're handling that. They get through college without a lot of debt. My son that is in graduate school is trying right now to get a job at the university. He already has a job at the university, but it is a temporary job. It's not a full-time job, and he's trying to get a research assistant position, and then his tuition will be waived. So proud of him for doing that. And he knows hopefully he will get out of graduate school with less than $30,000 in debt, which makes my heart sink. But I've tried. And it's really what he wants to do. He really wants to be a PhD in psychology, and a psychologist, and so I am going to support him in that, but not financially. Not anymore. I don't believe in supporting through past the bachelor's degree. So travel rewards. I just signed up for my Chase Sapphire card. I'm so excited, y'all. I don't usually sing on camera, but like I am so excited about this because I have been studying the travel hacking and I'm super good at paying off credit cards and being responsible with them. I do not recommend that if you're not good or you have credit card debt, don't do it. But if you're out of debt and you've proven that you can be super responsible and frugal with your money, you might give it a try. So I'm going to see how that works out. I'm just going to divert all of our monthly expenses onto that card. And I'm not going to go into the details of that. But if you're interested in travel hacking, check out Choose FI and just look at the travel hacking on the podcast or YouTube. So my goal is to be able to pay in full or at least minimally for, at least if I can get my plane ticket, our rental car, and our hotel, we'll only have to pay for my husband's plane ticket. I have no idea where we're going to go. We may not fly. We may just use a car, so it wouldn't matter. But as soon as his credit gets, in a good place, he had some issues when we met. I'm not going to get into it, but he's fixed all of that. And that will get him a travel rewards card as well. And we will switch from the Quicksilver that we're using now. But I was like a no credit card person. Like I did not believe in credit cards. And once I kind of understood the travel hacking, I'm like, oh yeah, like we're doing that. And we'll be responsible with them. So it really bothers him to see his credit card bill every month because he pays it in full. And instead of taking a draw from our roofing business or a paycheck, he just pays the credit card bill. And that is his paycheck. So it really, it bothers him to see that going down. And I'm glad. Cut the cord. We've done that. I did not raise my children with TV. So that was not hard for me. My children were raised going to the library, getting DVDs and reading. For most of their life, Netflix didn't exist. But when it did exist, we got the Roku stick and Netflix and eventually Amazon Prime. And that's what we do now. It's less than $30 a month for all of that. I don't think it's that much. It's maybe $20 a month. And to be honest, we don't hardly use it. My kids use it and they're adults, but we don't hardly use it. And I kind of have this thing with them, like because they're in college and they're young adults. Well, I have one in college. I have one in culinary school, one that's trying to get a business off the ground, and two that just got out of college and are working. I kind of help them along with things like letting them pay for the Netflix account. And, I'll help them in certain areas. Like I'll put them on my car insurance. I make them pay the car insurance, but they get a big discount for being on mine. And I also keep them on my health insurance, which I pay. When they're 26, that's kind of the cutoff line we've given them. But they have to they have to get themselves in a situation where they can afford it. And I'm just working with them, but not enabling them. So TV, no. We had a direct TV for a year when we moved out here. I hated it so much. And my husband really didn't want to get rid of it, but we did. I finally convinced him that it was such a ripoff. And we did, and he doesn't miss it at all. The man reads a lot, and he reads more now that he doesn't have that stupid TV. So our savings rate, I can honestly tell you that I haven't worked super hard at this, but I kind of know what our budget is, and I know how much we've put on the house and how much we've saved. And I'm going to say that we save between 50 and 60% of our income. And it's not really saving because we do save part of it, but a large portion of that goes to the mortgage because it makes more sense for my husband for us to have no bills except utilities. And our FI number, financial independence number, is $32,000. When my husband retires in 4 years, I think he's probably going to be making somewhere around, $29,000. I'm going to keep working part-time. I make somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 depending on how much work I do. So we'll be fine. And with me working even more part-time than I am now, like maybe I added it up the other day and I work about 32 hours a week with my commute. It's really like 26 to 28 hours a week. And so I could cut back to half of that and still make like $30,000 a year. So yeah, we'll be fine. And I'll just keep funneling money into savings and the rental properties, the cabins. We live on a beautiful 40-acre farm. And so, we can Airbnb and things like that. So super easy. Not easy, but, simple math, simple thought, but not necessarily easy. Okay, did I forget any? I mean, I know there's another pillar, but I think that I built it all in there together. So yeah, I mean, and we just don't really shop. I buy things I need. So like right now, this video, I know it's kind of grainy. I have a Logitech camera that it's giving me fits because I got this iPad and this MacBook. I'm sorry, not iPad. This MacBook Air, and I wanted a computer that would last me for 10 years because it bothers me to put electronic waste in the landfill. And I went and recycled my iPad and got $55 for that. It was 7 years old and got a break on the iPad. This will be my only computer. It's a little bit of a learning curve. I haven't used one since I was 40 and I'm almost 49. So I'm struggling a little bit with it. But like tonight I needed an adapter because, I do know that it's kind of frustrating with Apple products because the adapters, you have to get all these adapters and stuff for everything to fit. So I did buy that. I can't really think of much that I buy. I was actually looking at my checkbook today and I buy food. If I need something, like let's say I have 2 pairs of shorts and it's summer and I need I feel like I want one more pair of shorts, or I'll go get a pair from like Target or something. I just don't shop that much. I only buy what we need, and I'm very content in my life, and I actually enjoy getting rid of stuff and creating far more than I do buying. So our living expenses aren't that bad. I do want to share one win. My husband went camping this week and it did not cost us anything. He was going to pack food or go get food. And I said, just come home. I bet you I've got enough that I can get you through 3 days. And I did. I made up sandwich stuff, chicken salad. I had some leftover stuff that he could eat cold. He didn't have to buy nothing to go camping. So, there's so many things you can do if you just try to get creative and you're not picky and you don't have your mind. Like he didn't have his mind set on that he had to have eggs and bacon. We had oatmeal and we had eggs. So that's what he ate. We had apples and bananas and peaches and a watermelon. So that's what he took. He's just not super picky and he was more than willing to do that. And he was just like, I can't believe used to when I go camping, I go to the store and I'd stock up on all the stuff and I wouldn't use half of it. And I was like, yeah, I know. So he has come around to thinking like me, and he was not. So for all of you out there who have lost hope in that, I will tell you that my last husband, and not to beat up on him or anything, but it's just anytime we had any extra money, there was something that he wanted, whether it was a new pair of fancy shoes or a new jacket. He really liked clothes. And he was never could understand where the money was going. And here I was, all my clothes and the kids' clothes were coming from Goodwill. I kid you not. And when we divorced, we were making $90,000 a year. And I had never gotten my nails done. I was literally buying my clothes from thrift stores, and we were in debt. And I was like, I know I'm good at money. I'm not spending money. But we were getting nickel and dimed because every time we would pay something off, and I'm not trying to be mean on him, but every time we would pay something off, then he would want something else. And me, I wanted to please, and I wanted my ex-husband to be happy, and I wanted my family to be happy. And so when we divorced, I was able to get out of debt actually pretty quick on about a third of that. I had about a third of that salary. The first year I had about $15,000 because I wasn't getting child support or spousal support. And then after that, I got that. I was making about $32,000, and I was able to get completely out of debt and get on my feet. And when I met my husband now, I was like, here's what's going to happen and here's what's going to go down if you want to date me. You're going to go through a Dave Ramsey class, because he was a beginner at all this. And these are things I do and these are things I don't do. And he would make a mistake and I must be like, I'm sorry, but until you I will help you learn this, but until you learn these things, and if you're not willing to adopt this kind of lifestyle, I'm not willing to get married. It took 7.5 years for it to really, well, no, I'm sorry. It took 6 years for it to really change. But he eventually slowly came around, and he ended up saving $48,000 for the down payment on this house. So that was huge. And he's made a few mistakes here and there, and so have I. But we're doing so good now. So thank you for being here. This is a bit of a long and rambling video, and it was more for me to test out my new camera. So have a wonderful day. You can check me out at the Frugalarian, and that is frugalarian.com. That's my website, and it's also where I blog. I've actually been a blogger for 12 years. I never tried to make any money at it. I just did it to purge my brain. But I've also have a ton of YouTube videos, as you can see on this stage at this channel, and my blogs are all listed on the Frugalarian. I'm slowly every week either creating new content or putting an old blog up. And what's really cool is you'll be able to see my life from like 12 years ago when I was raising little children and was married, to divorced single mom, to remarried with young adult children, and all of those stages. So I'll be adding that, or you can just look at the blogs and find those. Thank you so much. If you like this content, thumbs up and subscribe. I appreciate you. Bye-bye.